Evening. So it is the 12th of June, I think that's Tuesday still. 25 to 9 in the evening, and good God, I am knackered. I mean, it didn't really feel like it had been a particularly hard day. I've only done like, I don't know, 30 odd miles, which isn't a long day at all. You know, not over the scale of the journey, not on averages even. But done over a kilometre of climbing today. I know the hill up to Red Ruth was the main one. It was like almost down to sea level at the bottom, going all the way up to a couple hundred meters, and that was just like pretty much a continuous climb, but not as hard as I was expecting, I'm pleased to say. Yay! But yeah, all the climbing and like not having a good night's sleep last night, I'm just knackered. I've got really lead legs along quite a lot of the way. Any time that I stopped and then started again, you know, even like just for a quick nibble or a quick drink, I could feel the tiredness in my legs with every kind of, yeah, you know, every one of those, yeah. Pedal, that's the word, aye. So I went through Red Ruth. Back up. I went along a mining trail. That was nice. I mean, it was rough. I wasn't expecting to encounter like kind of like almost off-road kind of terrain on the cycle tracks, but in retrospect it makes sense. I mean, other cycle tracks I've been on, which are parts of the National Cycle Route, also National Cycle Network, are off-road, almost off-road. I mean, you know, just hard-packed gravel and also loose gravel along them. Just yeah, it was just a bit more than I was banking on, just because I hadn't really thought that through. But that was fine, and it was a nice change as well. It was through kind of refurbished industrial landscape from all the old like 1800s mining and 1700s as well, some of it, you know, for copper and tin and all that. Loads of old mine work still around. There was an arsenic works as well, and because of that there was a river that had like signs up saying, you know, this is a poisonous river, don't let your dogs in there because some of them have died. So, you know, there's still like runoff from these arsenic works, and I mean, you know, they were closed like years and years ago. There was also a tailings lake, so, you know, tailings like the crap from a mine, slag, that kind of stuff, and that was red because, you know, obviously the heat, the actual lake itself had dried up quite a lot, which meant that the water left and there was much more concentrated than normal with like salts and heavy metals and crap. So yeah, that was cool to see. I've got some photos, they're not great, but you know, it still shows the colour of the water a bit. But after that, as I had the climbs, the up and down and the up and down, and then like the big hill up to Red Ruth. After Red Ruth, it kind of like went down. It was quite nice, it has to be said. And to be fair, even that uphill was on a good road. I mean, it was fairly like recently, you know, it was like they put the chip-ins down, but they hadn't finished tarring it, kind of thing. But that meant that like the cars were kind of taking their time, and I had like quite a nice surface to ride on. It was grippy for most parts. I just had to avoid the occasional like gravel bank, gravel wash, you know, pits, the gravel pit. So yeah, got up there, came down the other side. That was nice. There was something I was going to say. Oh yeah, so Camborne? It's not Cranbourne. Yeah, Camborne I'm going to say. I arrived, I was going through there over these speed bumps. I could hear this knocking. I was like, what the hell is it? I was thinking, oh yeah, I know, it's that reflector I've got on the side, because I've got like a you know, like a red reflector hanging off the side, and that knocks sometimes. It usually doesn't, but every now and then if I go over like a particularly bumpy bump, then it'll bump on the side. I was like, no, it didn't quite sound like it. But you know, I'd stop and I'd look around and I couldn't see anything, and I'd rock the box a bit, and no noises then. So I went on and it was still happening. I was like, no, this isn't right, there's something not right. And I had a good look then when I propped it up against a wall, and I was like, oh shit, yeah. So the box is on what's called a beam rack. So it attached, so you've got like the seat post like that, and that's clamped on, and then the rack extends in a beam, and that was kind of cowboy rigged. I mean, thanks to my father, thank you. We've kind of improved that rigging onto a sheet of wood, and that sheet of wood then supports the weight of the box and all the luggage. Now the beam rack itself is like composed of a couple of separate sections, and there's like a rail section along the outside of it that's welded to these kind of clamp bits underneath that attach to the main body of the beam, and those welds have just given way. There's 8 of them, 6 of them have gone. One of them's gone completely, and that was what the banging was, this bit that luckily was attached by a bungee, just kind of knocking on stuff. So see, if it wasn't attached by that bungee, then it would have just come off and gone in the wheels, and it probably would have just bounced out and not done any damage, but might have done. So yeah, it was lucky it was attached to that. And the bungee that it was attached to as well wasn't one that it was like under a lot of tension or anything like that. It's literally just holding it. The bungee's wrapped around a bit of sponge just to stop the rack from bouncing. It just like gives it a bit of suspension, literally just a sponge of suspension. So yeah, that's still there. And I've put more bungees to hold the rack together, basically, as well as some kind of ratchet type strapping. You know, the kind of, you've got like a ribbon, like a tough ribbon, and it goes through like a metal thing and you pull it like a ratchet. Yeah, one of those, just to hold the whole thing together. And that's worked just fine. I mean, I haven't cycled very far since I realised it was that broken. A mile or two, maybe a few miles, maybe half a mile. I don't know how long miles are. I should do really with all this mileage I'm doing, but no, I have no idea really. So yeah, I haven't cycled that far. It's probably about 20 minutes of cycling, so yeah, a couple of miles. I'm doing like about 7 or 8 miles an hour, so yeah, 2-3 miles. Yeah, okay, good. And it's been fine, and I've got it leant against a wall over there, and it's okay. Not this is fine, but yeah, no, it's actually okay, so it should hold. But if need be, I mean, I've got gaffer tape and string, so I mean, I can fix anything with those things. Fingers crossed, I won't need it. I'm really tired, as I've said. I'm rambling now. I can't. I'm sure there was something I was going to say. There was something specific I was going to say. I haven't got an idea. I'm going to cook. I'm going to sort of my bed in, tent and everything's up. Hang on, I'll spin around and show you. Oh yeah. There's the bike, and there's the tent. There we go. Fascinating. Oh, and yeah, sun is setting over there. So I've got the tent facing to the east, that way. So when the sun rises, it'll point that way and warm up and dry out my tent, which is nice. But yeah, I have no idea what I'm saying anymore, so I'm going to go and cook some food so I can go to bed. Yeah. Night.